Greetings, everyone. My name is Sharon C. Jenkins, and I am your host for the 50 Plus and Flirting Dating Summit. Yes, 50 plus. I tell you, us folks, we like to date, we like to find new love, and we like to make connections. And so, in light of all this love stuff going on, I thought it would be of the utmost importance for us to take a mirror view of who we are as individuals before we decided to step into the sometimes rat race of dating. So that's the whole purpose of this particular summit, is to prepare you for modern dating. Okay, all right. So I have the beautiful, intelligent, and fabulous Dr. Devan Ford. She is often called Dr. Devan. She's a certified life and wellness coach and cultural intelligence CQ facilitator. She is the CEO of Dr. Devan's coaching and consulting company, where her work focuses on individualized support to empower clients to attain goals, live well, and thrive. So, Dr. Devin, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are glad to have you because we want our grown and sexy folks to, to navigate this dating pool. But first, we want them to make sure that they have a keen understanding of who they are and what it is that they want. A lot of times, Dr. Devin, many people over 50 struggle with self-doubt, especially when they're re-entering the dating scene. What are some practical steps they can take to rebuild their confidence?
So, one of the things I think is really important is to do like an assessment of where your resilience level is first. And I believe that when you cultivate and you work on your resilience, that really helps to boost self confidence. So, I'm going to start with that a little bit and then I'll get back to the other pieces related to building confidence. So, there may be some things that have happened, right? Some challenges, some struggles, some loss. And we know that grief is associated with that, heartbreak, and that need to really heal, right? And so, in order to build that resilience, understanding first that means, so that's the ability to navigate through those challenges, to navigate through that adversity, and to effectively adapt to change so that you can thrive. So that incorporates cultivating a sense of calm, a sense of clarity and stability, even when things are stressful and overwhelming. And believe me, I know that when it comes to re entering dating, it can be stressful and it can be overwhelming, right? Confidence is self assurance. So it's a feeling of certainty, a firm trust and belief in something or someone. And in this case, we're talking about that firm trust and belief in ourselves. Okay. That's what we want to help people to build. So, the first thing I think when it comes to building resilience and confidence is mindfulness. And you may be thinking, what does mindfulness really have to do with this? But practicing mindfulness really helps one to become introspective, to think about and acknowledge those challenges, that grief and that struggle. But we don't want you to sit in it, right? We do want you to acknowledge it, acknowledge the feelings and emotions around it, become very aware of that, and then take on little practices that help you to change, like your mood or to change those emotions. So when you know when something may stimulate or trigger your emotions, it makes it easier for you to be able to get yourself out of those situations, not put yourself kind of in them in the first place. But if you find yourselves in them, you can quickly kind of adjust and to get out of them and make some changes. So there are little exercises you can do, breathing techniques when it comes to mindfulness. paying attention to what's around you and your surroundings. So, using all of the senses that you have at your disposal, paying attention to nature. So, what do you hear around you? How does that calm you down? How does that make you feel? How can you become one with your breathing patterns and that kind of thing? What do you even smell around you? It could be some good food, it could be flowers, something that's pleasant. But bringing all of those things in and honing in on your senses really helps with that practice of mindfulness, and it helps to calm you down, especially when you find yourself in those situations where you might be anxious or nervous or not feel as confident. We have to eliminate negative self-talk. That's number two. And I think that is also very important, to be aware of those moments in which you say things to yourself that are not so positive, or you think things that are not so positive. And believe it or not, that is a very good way to build your confidence. If you can recognize that negative self-talk and then pivot and change it to more positive self-talk, that's going to help you to boost your confidence. So when it comes to dating, you might have a moment where you think, I'll never be loved again. I don't deserve love again. I'm never going to be able to find, another partner. The person that was for me, we've been in that relationship. It ended. They may have passed away. It's not going to happen again. That's that negative self-talk. And it's easy to slip into those thoughts, and they're understandable, especially considering what you may have been through. But the moment you think them, if you stop yourselves and turn it around, okay, so I don't have that love now, but I'm worthy of that love and I
Mm,
will have it again, right? So maybe in this moment, I'm unsure. Maybe in this moment, I don't know how to put myself out there. But then we're going to talk about how you can put yourself out there. That's also going to help you to boost your confidence. So, again, in those moments when you start to say something to yourself that's not very positive, or you think something that's not positive, if you could recognize it and then stop it and then make that change. And sometimes it may be difficult to recognize when that happens. So, what I think is important to do is journal, because that helps you to kind of reflect and go throughout the course of your day. How did you feel during the day? What triggered certain emotions that you may have had? And then you can think about what your thoughts were at that time. So let's eliminate that negative self-talk, and then reframe our thoughts to put them into perspective, right? You may be thinking, I'm never going to be healed enough to be in another relationship. Instead, you can say, healing is a process and I'm still in it. But it is possible to go through the journey of healing and have a healthy and romantic relationship at the same time. Okay.
oh,
Stop.
that's huge.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
That's huge.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. You were about to say,
Stop comparing yourself to others, because I think comparison is the thief of joy. We see other people who may be in these relationships where they're happy, they seem happy, they are fulfilled. Social media is a big influence on that. What we watch on TV, what we read in books, that happiness and that joy from romantic relationships may be all around us, and maybe we're just not experiencing it at that time. But if you sit and you compare yourself to others, it's going to really keep you in that place again of being negative and not thinking that it's something that you can achieve, right? And so stop doing that. And it's not always easy to do, but it's one of those things that as you recognize it, you can do it. We can be happy for other people, our friends, our family, our loved ones, and the joy that they feel, and also hold space for the things that we're experiencing at that time. But don't compare yourselves and think, oh, because I'm at this age, I'm not going to find it again. No, that's not true. It is absolutely possible for you to do so. And I know you're going to continue to learn throughout the course of this summit ways that you can do that. And then I'm going to say, face your fears. That also helps with confidence. And so I mentioned putting yourself out there and what that looks like, re entering and being in the dating scene, actually going on a date if you get asked on a date, right? And so when that happens, there could be so many things that you start thinking and so many excuses that you can come up with as to why you shouldn't do it. But take the chance, right? Put yourself out there and go on that date, reflect on it, and see how it goes. We're not asking you to immediately get married, just go on a date. Using dating apps, it's something that's becoming more and more popular, and it can be scary because you're in this virtual space and environment, but get some help for friends, people that you trust to put your profile together. And if you're messaging or you're talking to someone and you're trying to figure out, should I continue talking to them? Should we take it to the next level and meet up? Have trusted advisors around you that can help you to make that decision. But it's okay to put yourself out there safely. Okay. So when we think about online dating and meeting up for a date with maybe someone that we met in that virtual space or online environment, we want to make sure that we do that in a safe way and that other people do know, where you're going and what's happening and what your location is going to be. Going out to social engagements, there's so much that's available out there. So, and those social engagements are different. Some of them are in the virtual environment now, so you don't have to leave home at all, but others of them are in person. If you can commit to finding at least one place that you can go to, for the virtual in person, where you're going to be social and it's going to help you to open up and meet people, I would suggest you do that. I would say once per month. Put yourself out there and face that fear and do it. And so you're not going into it just thinking, I'm going to meet that person, right? This first time, and we're going to connect and be in a wonderful relationship. Maybe not so much, but the more you put yourself out there, the more confidence it builds and the more comfortable you are with doing that.
Hmm. So I'm curious, what are some key mind shift or mindset shifts that can help individuals bounce back from rejection and setbacks while dating? Because you aren't guaranteed to meet someone who likes you, and often you may run into someone who isn't quite as nice as they should be.
Mhm. So, and I think having built that resilience and having worked on your confidence is going to help with that. But I would say there's a lesson to be learned in all things, right? And an opportunity to reflect. So, if you have those situations and they may very well occur, what did you learn from that situation and what can you reflect upon? Is there something that you may want to say or do differently next time? Or it just could be, that's not my person, and that's okay. I think affirmations are really powerful when it comes to that. And so just reminding yourself, even after those experiences, I mentioned it earlier, you are worthy, right? You are worthy and you will find love. And knowing that God is love and has someone that's for you, and that person is meant to find you. And that's going to happen as well. If you have favorite scriptures that you have, that helps to really shift that mindset. Continue to be in prayer about what it is that you want, right? And then focus on the things that make you happy. So if you have one of those situations and you're feeling a little down, what's something that helps to lighten the mood to bring you out of that space, right? Or those emotions that may not be so happy or so positive at that time, and focus on that. So it could be spending time with a friend, could be doing something alone, taking a walk, watching something on TV, reading your Bible, going back to your favorite sermon, praise and worship music, which is something that I utilize all the time. And then those affirmations, those things help you to really shift that mindset and just know it's okay if it doesn't always work out. And I know sometimes that can be difficult to think about, especially if you feel like time is going on and you're not where you want to be in terms of dating or in a relationship. But God teaches us patience in different ways. And I promise at the end of your patience, He has a promise for you for a great love, and you're going to have it.
And I agree wholeheartedly. So, what about authenticity and attraction? How does being authentically, child, let me get this word right. How does being authentic to yourself
Yes.
contribute to attracting the right partner? And what advice do you have for those who fear they may not be enough?
So, first of all, I will say this: you want to show up as yourself and be authentic because you want to attract the person who cares about and who recognizes the great qualities that you have, right? Because if you show up as someone else, if you say things that you feel like the other person wants to hear, if you're not being honest about your boundaries, about the way that you like to receive like appreciation, gratitude, your love language, all those kinds of things, you're going to miss something. And you're also not necessarily being honest or being fair to that other person who may see you a different way. So we want to show up as being authentic. I said it a couple times earlier. You are worthy. There is someone for everyone. Some people have that one love, and some people have the opportunity to have more than one love. So maybe you've been in a relationship again, you have lost, that significant other, then here's an opportunity for you to find new love, and you are still very much worthy of that. I think also when it comes to being authentic, you have to think about it this way: two people are involved, it's not just you. So as I mentioned, you want the other person to be attracted to your true qualities, right? But at the
Mm.
same time, you're looking for that in them too. And sometimes, whether we realize it or not, when we're not showing up that way, people can sense that, right? So they may be able to sense there's something more that they're not telling me. There's something more to their personality, to the things that they like, to their expectations of a partner or a significant other, and I'm not getting that. And so you want to be able to be authentic and be okay with that. Know yourself. And so take some time to, even, it may sound silly, take some time to write those things out. What are your qualities? What do you bring to a relationship? Right. And so maybe if you're not even thinking about it right now in terms of romantic relationships, what do you bring to your friendships, to your
Mm.
platonic relationships? What do you bring to being an aunt, a mom, a grandmother, cousin, sister friend, mentor, mentee, whatever it is? Those qualities are likely to be transferable across all relationships. And so the more you can think about your qualities and what you bring to others and that value, that's going to help to boost your confidence. Also, that's going to help you feel better about showing up authentically. We all have those things. And if you just are struggling to figure them out, ask people who you love and who love you and who you have that trust with. They're going to tell you, this is the thing I love about you. These are the things that I like about you. And those are things that you can also take into that relationship. And that's going to help you to know that you're worthy of that love.
So, what about self care?
Mhm.
How do you take care of yourself as you are about to enter a new dating relationship? Because not only do you want to show up as yourself, but you want to be confident in who you are and know that that relationship perhaps doesn't define who you are. It's not the if I get this, then I'll be okay. So talk to us a little bit about that.
I think self care is so important, just in general, but for sure when it comes to relationships and when it comes to dating, I think you have to be realistic about what you want and how you're approaching things. And I would say set some realistic goals. So I mentioned before, maybe your goal is one time a month to find some sort of social engagement where you get out and you go and you meet someone. And so maybe that within that goal, it's realistic to say, I'm not going to talk to every man or every woman, in that room, but I can commit to at least introducing myself to two people and engaging in a conversation. And then you've already written down which qualities are in those things. So you have that in mind when you go into that conversation. And then when you're in that space, be aware of how you feel, where your emotions are, what's going on around you. And if you have to leave, if you have to step back, if you have to take a break, do that. It can be very thinking about anxious, right? So anxiety is something that can build for sure in those environments. And if you feel like you might be someone who may become anxious or it happens in that moment, self-care kicks in and you're going to have to remove yourself from that space. You might have to step away. You might have to like get in your car, pray through it, right? Meditate through it, do some breathing exercises through it, and then return if you feel comfortable. But taking care of yourself is going to be ultimately important. And then on the other end of that, if you find yourself in a situation where you have met someone and you're talking and things are going well, think about what contributed to those feelings, and that can also help you too. But I think being realistic, excuse me, setting those realistic goals, having those expectations, knowing how to really um, evaluate how you're feeling and what you're going through and taking care of yourselves in those moments. And then before and after are going to be important too. Some people can be just totally overwhelmed by it. Myself, I'm an introvert. So the more people I talk to in any space, whether it's virtual or in person, my energy starts to go down like this. And so I'm thinking about what is it called? Speed dating, right? That's something where I might be able to do it for about 15 or 20 minutes, but I know myself enough to know that in order to take care of Devin, after that time frame, I'm going to have to step out and find something to do to re-energize myself. Because that just may be a little bit too much for me. And you all know yourselves in that way. And so honing in on what you need is going to be important when it comes to that self-care.
So I'm glad you brought up speed dating. What do you think about this pop the balloon phenomenon
Um,
that's going on right now, especially for people who are dating and over 50?
mhm. The pop the balloon phenomenon, I have to admit, people were sending me like video clips about it, and I wasn't engaging with it too much at first. But the more I started looking into it, the more I started trying to figure out really what's the point here and what are people trying to do. I think it goes back to that comparison piece that I said before, because when I was watching those videos, a lot of what I was doing was instantly starting to think about how do I compare, right, in terms of what I bring and what I have, and then thinking about men in that way too. And so, what I would say is know yourself, know your worth, know or have an idea of what it is that you're looking for, and just recognize you may not be compatible with everyone, because there may be someone who is just looking for something that's very specific. And if they feel like you don't have those characteristics or qualities, or sometimes even those for like tangible things, and they're placing a lot of emphasis on what you do, what you have, how much you make, and those things, instead of other qualities, that's not the person for you anyway, right?
Mhm.
And you don't want to get swept up into that type of situation or relationship anyway. Again, you want that authenticity piece. Um, and you just don't want to compare yourselves or find yourself in a situation where it's making you feel bad about yourself. And unfortunately, I think with those exercises, um, that happens, right? And so even if you are, 50 plus, just the more you know about yourself, the more you know about who you're interested in, what characteristics the other person has to have, what qualities, what you want them to bring to the table, how it matches what you bring to the table, and how it helps to make you all equally yoked in that way. That's going to be important. Some of that, honestly, I think it's nonsense. Don't play into it. Just don't.
Love it is bad TV.
It
And
is.
yeah,
And we
and
we don't
it's
want to be made to feel bad about ourselves, or even make other people feel bad.
mhm, mhm. So, my last question to you is simply this. What other advice do you have for people who are 50 plus who are re-entering the dating world? I'll give you an example. I have a friend whose 90-year-old mother-in-law wants to come to the summit. So we're talking about a wide range of
Hmm.
generations here. So closing closing point. What is
Hmm.
it?
I would say be open, and I would say be open in different ways. So, like you mentioned, you're talking about a wide age range, right? And so it could be that you have been thinking, I'm 55, I want someone who's 55 to 60 years old, but it could be someone who sparks your interest that's a little older than that. It could be someone who's also a little younger than that. Be open because you never know, your match might be there in a person that you would not have expected. And I think that's where that prayer comes in, and really leaning in to intuition and to the Holy Spirit to help you figure out if this is for me, but being open, I think. And then, even though it may seem like it's a lot to ask at this particular time in life, still take your time. In all things, you need to take your time and be patient. And so, being open to that is also going to be important. I know I have certainly known people in their 80s who have found love again and who have remarried and lived the rest of their lives, with that wonderful love and marriage. And there are people who have found that love again. And maybe it was just for a short time, to be quite honest, because maybe the other person, passed away. But what I can tell you, because I do have someone who I know that happened to, and it was her second marriage, and she got married in her 70s, had a wonderful marriage for about 7 years, and then her husband passed away. What she
Mm.
always says is, I don't regret taking the chance, and I don't regret that marriage, because though he did become sick and pass away, now I have those wonderful memories of how I was loved for those 7 years with
Oh,
him
wow.
to carry me on. And so,
Oh,
if she
yes.
hadn't have been open to that, she wouldn't have that experience and know love in that way.
Oh, that is huge. Thank you so much, Dr. Devon, for
You're welcome.
coming. Yes, we needed to center ourselves on the value of self and being prepared mentally more so than anything else, because that is the thing that anchors us in place. So when those other things come, like the rejection or maybe the mismatch or whatever comes that does not fit our expectation, we need to know how to cope with that. It's not, I remember in my teen years, that kind of rejection would have had me bawling on the bed. We don't need to respond that way anymore because we are grown and we have the tools that we need in order to handle this modern dating world. And I agree. There's somebody out there for you,
Yes,
and you are worthy to be loved.
absolutely.
Well, I understand you have a freebie. Let's talk a little bit about that so our people will know when they click on the link below, they'll have access to it.
Absolutely. As you mentioned before, I am a life and wellness coach. I like to say personal development instead of life coach, because I think it's kind of broader and it encompasses more of really trying to help people thrive again and continue to find that success. So, what I'm offering is a free 45-minute introductory coaching session. And so, what that means is talking about and listening to you all and figuring out what it is that you're working towards, what challenges you might be having in terms of personal development in your personal wellness, and how you might want to change. And then I will help you to just really kind of navigate setting some realistic goals up front. So there is an opportunity for that first introductory section to be free. And then after that, if you're interested in additional sessions, we can continue to talk about it.
Oh, that is great. Thank you so much. And listening audience, viewers, I want to encourage you. We can't do dating the way we did it 20, 30, 40 years ago. It's just not going to work in this world. We can't come with our heart in our hands, giving it to any and everybody. We deserve the best kind of love. And so, in order to do that, you have to see yourself in a different light and in the completeness of the beauty of who you are. And we all are
Absolutely.
beautiful. Wrinkles, all kinds of stuff shifting around. It doesn't bounce like it did 30 years ago. All those kinds of things. I'm talking about the physical, but also the mental and the emotional and the spiritual. You
Absolutely.
know pretty much by now who you are and what your boundaries are. And not only that, you know what you want. Yes, yes. Now, if you want, for me, if I wanted to date Common, I couldn't do it right now because Jennifer Hudson is dating Common. But that doesn't stop me, from appreciating the fact that he has held my hand before. So what
Okay.
what I'm saying to you is simply this. Know who you are, know what you want, but most importantly, don't let anybody convince you to become something that is not your authentic self. There is somebody who is looking for you. And if you don't show up authentically, they will not recognize you at
Mhm,
all.
mhm,
Yes.
mhm.
Any closing comments? I know this is like the second close.
Oh no, I love those the final comments that you said, and I just want to reiterate, what you said, being yourself is ultimately important. You don't want them to miss out on, and you don't want to miss out on that person. Yes, and again, I can't emphasize it enough. You are just so incredibly worthy, and there's someone waiting to really get to know you and to love you and to appreciate and value all the things about you that are wonderful. And I look forward to hearing about it too. So I don't know if there's an opportunity, Ms. Jenkins, where people are going to kind of report back after a little bit of time, but I would love to hear where folks are.
Well, in October or September, we're going to do another summit, and we will definitely have a session where people can come on and give their stories, give us
Oh,
feedback.
good.
And that's very important. I agree, Dr. Devin, that people need to have a voice. It's not only informational, it's educational and
Right.
empowering. So I see the value of them coming back and sharing their stories because it's so important for us to see the results of our efforts, especially for me, because it was a huge step of faith to do
Mhm.
this summit because I believe that love does not escape us. If we
Mhm.
truly want it, whether we're 50, 60, 70, 80, or 90, okay? I believe that it's available to us.
Yes, and that just made me think of one final thing I didn't say is that it's okay. It's okay to want it. And I think I missed out on saying that in the beginning and opportunities to say that throughout. But if you don't already feel that way, just know it is okay. It's why people are coming and participating in this summit. And don't be afraid again to talk about it with those that you love and with people that you meet that may be potential significant others. You are worthy, but it's also okay for you to want this and to continue to love and be loved and to date and have, the relationship or however it is that you want it to go.
So now you know it's okay. Dr. Devon has said so. She is the authority. And I know her as an authority because I've known her a little while now. And I recognize the love that genuine love that she has for humankind. And
Mhm.
so I want to again thank you, Dr. Devon, for
Thank
coming
you.
on today. And listen, viewers, look, listeners, look, love is yours if you want it. Okay?
Mhm.
Go after it. All right? Okay. More sessions to come. Have a great one. I love you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.